Chris, based in New York. Chris is an ex-fireman, and he knows all about rescuing people. And his latest rescue adventure is rescuing inventors from scam people, scamsters, the bad guys, the bad girls who want to take money from inventors and not give very much back. So his speech tonight is going to be, what is a scam? And obviously we all know what scam means, but what is a scam as far as inventors are concerned? How do we recognize one? How do we not get caught? And then if we have been scammed or we believe we've been scammed, what can we do about it? How can we get out of it? Okay, so welcome, Chris. Thank you very, very much for being here. Our meeting format, we will be handing over to you. So this is your meeting to run as you wish. And we can get questions into chat if anybody's got any questions. Please say hello to us in chat, and so that I remember who was here on this very auspicious night. Please put on your cameras, which I see everybody's got their cameras on, so thank you very much. We mute ourselves as usual. We don't disclose anything that's not in the public domain. We are recording, thank you, Julie. And I love tonight's quotes, which I chose for you, Chris. I always choose the quote for the speaker. There's so many, there should be so many. There's so many scams on the internet these days. Send me $1995 and I'll tell you how to avoid them. So that was, I thought that would have brought a little giggle somewhere along the line, because I bet you if there would be an address there, somebody would actually send in 1995 to find out how to avoid scam. Our Kids Club is carrying on with a very fine program. Next time we've got Edward Ayres. He's going to talk about the nuts and bolts of licensing. Dana Knowles has come to talk about that horrid thing we've got to do, cold calling. And she's going to be talking about cold calling to get into companies for any reason. We were supposed to have our networking before today, but of course it just didn't work out that way. And I just want to make sure that you remember, we've got a picture to the panel session coming up on the 11th of June. Picture to the panel is when you, and the U represents an inventor. Ken, maybe I should hand it over to you, but anyway, an inventor can come and pitch his idea to a confidential group of specialists who will then discuss it with him or her and give advice in terms of the next step that they can take. NDAs are signed. It's a very confidential kind of situation. But we have our next session on the 11th of June. It's a highly successful and very well accepted service that we offer. I'm looking for any admin volunteers. Nobody at this meeting tonight, because I don't think you want to do the admin. I'm going to ask you to want to do. And then my standard questions. When asked, did you visit the website? Besides tonight's nonsense in trying to get onto this meeting. Chris, I'd like to hand over to you now and say thank you very much. Lisa is here. Thank you very much. Hello, Dave. It's so nice to see these people. We've had a terrible time tonight. So I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you, Chris. It's over to you.
Thank you, Celeste. It's a pleasure to be here and welcome everyone.
Can you sorry for interrupting you, Chris. Can you check your volume?
Yeah, my volume is all the way up.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, yep, okay. Thank you.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay, I'll keep this thing close to me. You know what? I have an office here in New York City in an incubator space. So there's a lot of other people around. So I put the earphones on, but I'll talk. I'll kiss this microphone so you guys can all can hear me. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate everyone taking the time. I appreciate Celeste inviting me, and let's have some fun. Let's share some information. and let's start this relationship. Celeste, um, is there a share screen?
Yes, you can share your screen. There's no problem. You shared screens before, obviously, Chris.
Yeah, I was clicking
The green button there, share screen
yeah, you know what, my
at the bottom.
hold on 1 second. I clicked it. It says host disabled, participate screen sharing.
It's not possible. I'm looking at my allow participants to share screen. Okay, do that. Try now. Here we go. No.
There we go. Whoops.
Like, well, that's me sharing my screen. But Chris, can you try and share your screen?
No, it's not letting me.
Did you try again?
Yeah, I just clicked share screen twice.
Okay, then this
Is it
it's another
possible?
mystery.
Yeah, is it
It's
possible?
even
Is it possible for you to go to my website?
and now, Chris, now you're really asking me to do something that's out of my.
Or is someone else able to share their screen? I'm gonna go through my introduction, and then what I wanted to do is just show a few pages on my website that I feel like are really important for inventors to help them not get scammed. And so if someone maybe can share their screen, it's not letting me.
Judy, can you try for us?
Yep.
So I don't understand why if Judy can share, you can't, Chris.
Well, I'm a co-host, so that may have something to do with it. So Chris, just let me know when you want me to bring it up.
Okay, that'd be great. Okay, awesome. So let's jump into it. So my name is Chris Landano. I am from New York City. Tell you a little bit about me, and I'll tell you the story of how I got to Inventor Rescue. I've always loved helping people. It's really my passion. Started out when I was a teenager here in New York City. I've always done a lot of volunteer work, and it kind of led me to one of my passions, which I continue to do today. I'm a big volunteer, and I knew at a young age that helping people was going to be my focus. And so when I was like 20 years old, I became a auxiliary police officer for the New York City Police Department, and I found a passion for helping people. And then I took a test to become a New York State emergency medical technician, and I started working on a New York City ambulance. And one of the first calls I ever had was a 1-month-old who was in cardiac arrest. And by the time we get to the hospital, that little baby was breathing and crying, and it was just such an emotional ride. And I realized, wow, I could have an impact on people and save their lives. It was unbelievable. And I was still very young. I was like 21 years old. And that eventually became kind of my my direction. I decided I was going to be a first responder. And that led me becoming a New York City firefighter, which I did for many years. And along with being a firefighter, I was also a forensic photographer for the fire department. I had studied photography in college, and I just found such a passion for working in such a crazy environment and doing photography and capturing photos. And I was responsible for one of the elite photo units, and we went around the whole city. And I really found my passion for things that I enjoyed, and it all revolved around helping people. I'm a survivor of the World Trade Center attacks on 9/11. I had cancer from the World Trade Center, so I've survived that. And it was during the time that I was a forensic photographer with the fire department that I invented my product. So my product is called Track Belt 360. Not sure if anyone's ever seen it. But if you check out the website, it's Track, TRAK Belt BELT 360. And I invented that product in a building collapse rescue. I got trapped. I got trapped while photographing. And as I was freeing myself, I said to myself, oh, what if I could have just rotated my pouches? And that's how my invention came to life. There's the website, trackbelt360.com. And it was probably a few years into being a firefighter that I came up with the idea. And I kind of worked on Track Belt 360 on the side while being a firefighter. And, you know, it took me many years to get this product developed, but it was through attending events. I became a member of the Inventors Club in New York City. And it was a huge resource for me to know that there's a club with other inventors that could help me with figuring out what I'm going to do here and really learning about being an inventor. I didn't know anything about inventing. I didn't know I invented a product. I didn't know that I created a prototype. I mean, it just kind of all happened organically. And over the years of learning about the process, I started going to trade shows and I started meeting other inventors, and lots of inventors were telling me, be careful, don't get scammed. And I didn't really understand what they meant by it until years later that I fell into some situations where I was being taken advantage of. I was being misled. And, you know, for me, when someone else pitches you and says they can help you with something and they know they can't and they convince you, that's a scam in my opinion. They knew what they were doing. And so unlike a lot of inventors that fall victim to some of these big companies, I didn't fall victim to those companies because I was an active member in my Inventors Club, and I really didn't make any decisions unless I went through them. And so it was a great resource. So being in part of Inventors Club is very important. So I invented Track Belt 360, and I started developing the product and started going through the process through the resources I had at my Inventors Club. One thing that I do really well is I'm a good networker. I go to a lot of trade shows, and I guess being a firefighter gave me a lot of flexibility. You know, I'm sure people know firefighters, we work 24 hours on, and then we're off for 24, and then we work another 24, and we're off for 48 to 72 hours off. So I was fortunate to have a schedule that gave me a lot of flexibility to go out to events and go out to trade shows. And it was just from meeting so many inventors that were constantly telling me these stories about how they were scammed and how they were misled. And I started doing research. A few years back, I started doing research on scams and fraud. And you don't find that much information, but I was finding bits and pieces. I was connecting with a lot of inventors that were sharing a lot of companies with me. And, you know, what little did I know was that I would have eventually launched Inventor Rescue. And I'd say what really got me motivated was I became friends with some inventors in other states outside New York City. And they were telling me the stories about how they were in the hole for their products. Some were $100,000 and didn't even have a prototype, or someone would point me in the direction of these consultants that were charging people for monthly retainer fees. And every time I'd have a conversation with the inventor, I'd be like, "You paying how much?" And it was just like, it started getting out of control. And when I decided to launch Inventor Rescue, which was last year, it was really like sort of a test. I threw the website up, I put some information together, and I just launched it as a test to kind of see how things would go. And the response has been overwhelming. We've been getting emails from a lot of inventors, and I go to a lot of trade shows. I'm so happy to see the trade shows back here in the US. I've been to 5 major trade shows so far this year. Next week, I'll be out in Las Vegas at the Licensing Expo. And so it's great to see that the trade shows are back in full swing. And so kind of like my mission for Inventor Rescue is to educate inventors on how to avoid costly and mistakes that empower them through guidance and support through the invention process, kind of helping inventors make better decisions on bringing their ideas to market and giving them a good chance. And, you know, if we can go to the website, Julie, I appreciate your help, Julie. Inventorrescue.com. There we go. So I tried to keep the website as clean as possible. And we kind of made things really simple. Like on the top right-hand corner, we set up a kind of a button here with a form. So if someone feels like they've been scammed or they're being misled or something doesn't just look right or feel good right, they can click that button. It brings them to a page and they fill out the form. Everything is kept confidential. And I'd say I'm getting one submission a week on this. And you know what? We really haven't done much advertising for Inventor Rescue other than word of mouth. I guess through the United Inventors Association and me going out to trade shows and meeting with lots of inventors. What I like to do at trade shows is I go booth to booth, introducing myself and just starting up a conversation with the inventors where I'm just sharing free resources and information on about, you know, all sorts of issues that inventors face. Let's just let them know that I'm available.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. If you go back to the homepage, Julie. So the website is pretty easy to navigate. We've got our homepage. If you just scroll down, we've got a Did You Know section. We've got a video, which I'm going to be updating soon. Right here, Julie, if you could stop. I'm finding, so this is where I feel like we have the biggest issue in this industry. We have a lot of companies, some independent consultants that are taking advantage of people who have ideas without really directing them to find out if their idea is needed, if it can be protected, and they have inventors signing them up for thousands of dollars. And can you click that link, Julie? Click here. I kind of created this page for folks who have ideas to kind of learn about the website, learn about the industry. I kind of try to give you this like a roadmap for someone who has an idea. Don't get scammed or ripped off. And we know it. If you've been in this industry for a long time, you know, you've heard the stories. And you know, one of the reasons why I started Inventor Rescue, because I just felt like no one was addressing this issue. Everyone knows, all the experts in the industry, they know who the bad guys are, but no one was doing anything about it. And my goal with Inventor Rescue isn't really to go after the bad guys. It was to create one-stop shop for inventors to have all the resources for them to make the best decision and spend your money wisely. That's my agenda. That's my mission. My mission, excuse me, is to help you spend your money wisely and not fall into the scam. There are so many companies that are operating in this industry, and they've been operating for 10 or 15 years. And the average inventor thinks like, oh, those are the guys I gotta go to. And it's so misleading. It's so terrible. But yeah, as you scroll down, you see we have a lot of information about not getting scammed, not being misled. If you go down, I suggest everyone to go through this page and please share it. The next section down, we have, I believe it's common inventor mistakes. Can you grab the bar and pull it down? Go a little quicker. There we have common inventor mistakes. And all the information that I've got on this page is not information that I provided alone. It's from inventors reaching out to me, giving me tips, and we've added it here. I've also have an amazing team of advisors. And a lot of my advisors have been in this industry over 20 years. They're honest. They've given me great feedback and helped me build this page. Then we have market research. What I try to do here is help inventors figure out if their idea is valid, how to assess if their product is something that's needed before going out and spending money. Because we know that there's so many people out there, so many companies that don't really care about the inventor's idea, if it's valid or not. Because the people at the entry for these companies, whether it's invention submission company or invention licensing company or promoters, a lot of them are paid employees and get paid off of commissions. So they have a script that they follow, and it's all about quantity, not quality. And then we have a section on intellectual property. I'm no attorney. This is all basic information that you could find online. And then it goes into types of patents. What I did include at the bottom of this section is patent attorneys that I've used personally, who I have vetted, and I know will not take advantage of inventors. And I can tell you, I was taken advantage of by a few attorneys here in the New York area, and it's so bad. We now that I know what to look for, I kind of know the difference between good attorney and bad attorney. We put together a section on prototyping. Again, it's all basic information, and I try to educate. It's like a little course. I try to educate the inventor on their own without them having to pay thousands of dollars through some program or some company that says they need to, pay thousands of dollars. So this kind of gives a direction to help inventors, help them decide on, okay, am I going to license this or am I going to venture it? And then some basic pros and cons of advantages and disadvantages. Some basic information here about why products fail. And so if inventors could go into it thinking, wow, let me just take a note of all this stuff. Licensing basics. And a lot of the information, I partnered recently with Lisa Lloyd. Lisa Lloyd is one of the top licensing experts in the US. And what a lot of people don't realize is some of these other licensing people, I don't talk names and I don't talk companies, but some of these so-called licensing people that do a lot of marketing on social media, they've actually gone to Lisa for training, but they never mention it. So they know who they are. There are a lot of people that, kind of have celebrity status in our invention community, who are not celebrities. And there'll come a day when they'll get knocked off their pedestals because they're giving bad information. But again, my goal, my agenda is try to educate new inventors as much as I can with free information. Can you go back to the homepage, Julie? And that's what I really want to do. I want to kind of be a disruptor for these crooked companies that are charging inventors thousands of dollars, especially up front. It makes you wonder if some companies are so good at licensing, why are they charging inventors up front? Why not take a percentage of the inventors on the back end if they're so good at what they do? But it's not going to happen because they know the chances that inventors actually have. According to the US Patent and Trademark Office, it's projected that around 2% of patents ever make any money. And I'll tell you this, I got a lot of inventors that reach out to me who have a patent but never did any market research. And inventors think, oh wow, I can get a patent on this. That means that I've invented something new and I can make money. No, it's not true. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm just someone who's kind of good at identifying information and sharing it with other people. When it comes to the fraud and the scam stuff, I'm not an expert, but I'm kind of going in the direction of being an expert to try to help as many inventors as I can not get scammed. If you go down, Julie. Go down, I'm sorry, go down to the partners section. So these are just organizations around the country that we've started doing some cross marketing with, and we're just sharing. Innovation World Alliance, I don't know who those guys are. Everyone should know
Mhm.
Julie Shiverly. Julie is awesome and runs an amazing program for from K through 12 grades.
Okay.
These are K through 12. What? Did I screw that up, Julie? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you keep scrolling down? So these are just good organizations. Awesome. Can you go to the invention alert page?
Sorry, Chris, I'm multitasking on about 3 different things at the same time, so
That's okay.
I apologize.
That's okay. So just scroll down a little bit here. Stop right there. So what I've done a great job at is finding all the links on public sites like USPTO, Federal Trade Commission. They have a lot of good information on their websites, but most inventors don't know to go to it. So what I did was I tried to bring everything to one page. So these are all the articles. A lot of these articles are dated and no one's really been updating this information. I am in conversations now with the Patent and Trademark Office. They have a scam and fraud unit, and we're kind of working together. This page, warning signs and red flags. So I started off this page with my own warning signs and red flags from my experiences. Excuse me. And then over the last year, other inventors have been reaching out to me and saying, hey, I've got a warning sign or red flag. And after reviewing it, if I think it's valid, I throw it up. So this page has really been growing, and this should be a great resource to help inventors not get scammed, or if they're involved with a company, they can start to be like, oh, wait a minute, I just saw this on Inventor Rescue. And if someone thinks they're being scammed or they're being misled, I urge them to reach out to me. It's completely confidential. And we've helped a few inventors identify that they're involved in something that they were not aware of doing the right market research. And then if you keep scrolling down, you'll see a lot of these. It's just great information. We've gotten a lot of people reaching out to us and saying, if I knew this was here, I wouldn't have gotten scammed, or I may have not been scammed for so much. And this is more resource, more information that comes from other websites. I try to do my best to vet the websites, but if if someone reaches out to me and says, hey, there's a link on your website, maybe you should check it out, I'll do a little bit more due diligence. But so far, it's been positive feedback. Now, this is information. These 5 questions came out of here in the United States. For anyone that's not joining us from outside the US, there was a law back in 1999 called the Inventors Protection Act of 1999. And they forced any companies that take submissions or they claim to promote your product, and they forced them to allow the customer, the student, the client, whatever you want to call them, the option to ask these 5 questions. And these are 5 great questions that every inventor should ask any service provider that's asking them for money up front. And most of the companies that are charging thousands of dollars, they should know what their success rate is. Most of them don't, and that's a problem. The average success rate, according to some of the licensing experts I have connected with, and Lisa's one of them, it's very hard. No one really keeps track of success in the industry. Everyone I talk to, including folks at the USPTO, agrees the number is less than 5% of inventors that have any success with their product, whether it's licensing or manufacturing. So imagine that 2% of patents ever make any money, and the success rate for inventors, it's less than 5%. So let's just say it's between 2 and 4%. How come the companies that charge inventors thousands of dollars this isn't like the first thing they say. They don't tell inventors, listen, this is high risk. They don't do it. They completely do not share this information. And to me, that's fraudulent. I know, but some of them, if they're really good, because these are master manipulators, these folks. They're like those timeshare people. They could sell a timeshare to a homeless person. They'll have an answer for you, regardless. So I had an inventor recently told me that they were talking to a company, the rep, and they said to the rep, well, you know, the success rate for inventors is really low. And the rep said to him, well, how much do you believe in your idea? Totally flipped it on them and said to them, well, do you think you have $1 million idea? If not, why are you here? And the inventor completely fell to it and was like, yeah, I have an idea that I think can make a lot of money. So they have answers for everything. So inventors, really, we need to become investigators. We need to be good at asking questions. Do not rely on these people at their word, especially for companies like licensing companies or promotion or submission. Most of the people on the front end are commission based. So they'll do whatever they have to do to get you to sign up. And the more packages or the higher the package, the more money they make. Some of the companies, some of the schemes are, well, we have different packages. One is 1,500, or you could do the 3,500, which gives you better chances and you get better information. Complete bullshit. You're going to get the same information. I'm sorry if I curse. I apologize. Sometimes I get passionate, and it really, really bothers me. You know, it's why I started. I got into this. I'm really passionate about helping people, and for me, an inventor, to be as involved as I am in the industry, to know that people are being scammed. It's my life story of being an inventor. Julie, testimonials. So since launching Inventor Rescue last year, we've had some testimonials. So the one to the right here, at the top right, is, can you scroll down? Go back up, I'm sorry. Let's spin away. Okay, so we have the right here. This was a great story recently. This is Tanya. Tanya paid full price for her production molds in China. She started having issues with the manufacturer, telling her that they couldn't provide samples. There was a shortage of the material. So now I have relationships with folks in China. I reached out to one of the factories that I have a relationship with. I told them we need to rescue some molds. And that's exactly what happened. It took us about 2 months. We got the molds out of Tanya's factory. And
Wow.
we got them into another factory. And now she's getting samples. Can you go back up to the top? And one of the things that I find on a lot of companies' websites, they're not being true about true testimonials. In my opinion, a testimonial is someone who used your service and you were able to help, or you used your product and it made a difference to them. I'm finding that lots of companies have fake testimonials, paid testimonials, and they have testimonials of people that don't even know they have a testimonial on someone's website. And I've been testing this out on, there are people in this industry that are very active, and I don't believe they're honest people. I've had some conversations with some founders who reached out to me to tell me, this is great about Inventor Rescue. We want to be a part of the mission. And it turned out to be complete crap. They just wanted to get me on the phone, see if I would buy into their BS. And then I didn't buy in. And then they stopped answering all my questions, telling me, we want to be transparent. And I was like, this is great. Let's be transparent. What's your success rate? You won't tell anyone. And then I never heard from this character. But Laren is another one. Laren was trying to get on Shark Tank, She couldn't get on Shark Tank because she was having patent issues with her patent examiner. And we connected Lauren to one of our patent attorneys who charged her a fraction of what the other attorneys were trying to get out of her. And we got her a patent within 2 months. She had such a simple product. We have a patent attorney who I use personally out of New York City here. He works for a big firm, but he's able to charge cheaper prices for independent inventors because he's an inventor himself and he gets it. He's really good and he's been very helpful. He helped Lauren get her patent within 2 months and she got on Shark Tank and it was a great experience for her. One of the things I'm trying to make a point of it with my testimonials, we only have 6 right now, which is fine. I'm helping a lot of people every week, but I want to be careful with my testimonials. You know, I want it to be people that we've helped and we've helped them financially or some way, shape or form. A lot of people are putting lots of testimonials up on their site for telling someone. I don't know if it makes sense. I'm trying to have my testimonials to be true to people we've really helped. And I'm making a point on each testimonial for you to reach out to the inventor directly, which a lot of companies don't do because lots of their testimonials are not true testimonials. And so that's the one thing where I want to be a little bit different. Can you scroll down? So these are some other testimonials. The one here in the bottom, her name is June. We actually helped her get money back from a service provider that was taking advantage of her. And we have Paul on the right. Paul was in the hole for almost $500,000 with his product. And he had used a number of different companies or so-called licensing, coaching companies, and had no success. And Paul was the first inventor I took under my wing, and I mentored him for about 2 years. I didn't charge him $1, and I convinced him to get a booth at the National Hardware Show. And he had told me, no, I'm not going to get a booth. I've been to that show for years, and I walked it, and it was no success. I said, Paul, the difference of walking a show and being in the booth is 10 times more exposure. Make a long story short, he got a booth at the hardware show at the United Inventors area a few years back, left that show, got a licensing deal. And so that's a success for me. And so I've been able to kind of help people and sort of just directing them off of the information that I've kind of learned myself from my own experiences. Everything I tell people to do are things that I've done and things that I found to be very successful. I had a conversation recently with an inventor out in Florida. I'm hoping to get a testimonial from him, but just crazy stories. A friend of mine that I went to high school with, reaches out to me and says, "Hey, Chris, you're doing this Inventor Rescue thing I see." She said, "My neighbor, I think he's getting scammed." So she introduces me to the neighbor. He's $100,000 in with a product development company, and all they've done is make him a looks-like prototype. And he tells me this company's great, they're honest, they're showing me the process. And I said, "What's the next step?" He says, "Well, they're gonna make me a functioning prototype for another $50,000. And I'm like, man, cut that check up. Do not send them another $50,000. When he showed me the product, it was simple. And I said to him, I said, "What market research have you done?" He said, "Well, I need the product, so I figured everyone else needs it." I said, "No, that's not how it works. You've got to go and so make a long story short, this guy was paying this company, and I and now that company's on my radar, but he was going to pay them $50,000 more, so he would have been $150,000 in without them doing any patent search or any kind of search about patent. They never even spoke to him about patents. So there's so many people out there that we know are being misled. And so I know Inventor Rescue is going to have an impact. We have a lot of conversations going on with a lot of people, a lot of organizations. And really, I haven't even gotten started yet with Inventor Rescue. You know, I'm still gathering a lot of information while I still work on my invention. I retired last year from being a firefighter to go full-time into Inventor Rescue and getting my own invention off the ground. And so I'm currently talking to potential licensees. I have never signed up for one of these licensing companies or licensing coaches. What I tell inventors is get out to trade shows. It is the best resource for information if you're going to license. It's helped me out tremendously. And, you know, what happened with Paul, it helped him tremendously. I know getting out to trade shows is not, it's not easy for everybody. They're not cheap. You know, in most cases, there's airfare, there's hotel, there's, you know, eating your meals. Unless you live in Las Vegas, where a lot of trade shows happen, you know, most cases you got to jump on a flight. But there are so many resources that one person gets at a trade show. I mean, it's just completely invaluable resources. We talked about the chances. We talked about the information about the odds inventors have. I'm doing something that I love. I've put as much information as I can into the website, and you know, I make myself available. I'm getting a few emails a week from inventors reaching out to me with questions, asking me that about certain companies. And I don't know everything about every company, but I've become really good at going onto a company's website and going right to their team page. It's one of the first things I do. If there's no pictures of like the team or the founders, it's kind of a red flag. If there is a picture of a group of people and it's very ethnically kind of balanced, something is wrong there, because no company looks perfect. Like, these are just some of the warning signs and red flags. I had an inventor reach out to me just the other day. She said to me, I think something's wrong with this company. I said, what's going on? And she told me, I went to the website and I went to the testimonial page and I started Googling the testimonial companies, and none of their websites were working. And I said, something's wrong here. And she said she reached out to the company the next day, and then she called me back and said they took down that page. So this inventor was proactive. She went right to the testimonials page. The testimonials weren't lining up, and she ended up realizing that something was wrong. She was still thinking about using them, even though she shared information with them, and they talked her down from the ledge and they made her feel comfortable, but she ended up not going forward with them. Another good tip is, if you go onto a company's website and you go to their about page or their contact us, and they show like a fancy building for their main office, punch in their address in Google search or maps, and then go to images. And in some instances, you'll see it's like a church or a school or residential address. So these are like little tips that I'm learning from other experts. You know, I've connected myself with a few people in the industry who are really knowledgeable and have loved that we're doing this and have been great resources to me. So even though I'm sort of doing this alone right now, I've got a team of experts from around the country who've been a part of it and have been giving me great resources. And I'm just trying to do my part to help inventors not get scammed. Am I going to be able to protect everyone? Absolutely not. But what I want inventors to understand is we can't take these people at their word. There are so many people in this industry that are smooth talkers. They are master manipulators. I hear some of these people talk and I know it's complete, oh, I want to curse, but I'm not. BS. It's complete BS. To the average eye, some inventors, they'll get down and kneel before some of these guys. Anyone can write a book and anyone can be a contributor to magazine articles, but it's someone's actions. Okay. I recently read someone's book and I'm seeing their actions, and their actions are completely opposite of what they wrote in their book. It's very discouraging to see so many inventors who are falling victim to these companies. But like I said, I'm doing my part. I'm an inventor. I'm a professional rescuer. And so part of rescue is not always calling 911 when you need help. It's kind of prevention. Going out to events and handing out information and letting people know about that we exist and having that resource. If you go to the resources page, there's a whole drop down of all sorts of resources. Can you click
That's
on
weird. I click on resources and it leaves me on the testimonial page, but do you want to look at a particular page of your resources?
Actually, you know what?
Your return thing's just not doing it right.
Yeah, I'll check that out. But if
That's
you just
okay. If you want to look at a certain one, we can.
No, there's a ton of resources in here, and I'm constantly adding. I just wanted to glance over that. Go back to Inventor Alert and go down to infringement and counterfeit.
Oops, sorry.
The infringement and counterfeit. This is a page that a lot of inventors are reaching out to me on, and they are getting great information from this page. If you go up, just go back up to the top. Red Points is an organization that we partnered with, and what they do is they help small inventors to large companies fight off infringers, and it's a great resource. I do know a few inventors that have hired them and they've had lots of success. But if you scroll down this page, we have a lot of resources on infringement. Some of the best resources about Amazon. I've even recently connected with an organization that are Amazon experts, and they have amazing resources. So if an inventor reaches out to me and says they're being infringed upon, I'll send them to this page. And my goal is, as we build Inventor Rescue team, is to have an expert on our team for infringement and counterfeiting, and so on and so forth. But what I'm trying to do is just create that one-stop shop to help inventors not get scammed. So this has been a great page. I've had a lot of inventors tell me, email me and say that they learned a lot about Amazon, some great information. If you go up, stop. The third one from the top, from the bottom, from the top, section 337. The International Trade Commission, this section has helped inventors fight off infringers at the ports in partnership with the U.S. Customs. So we know a few inventors. I just met an inventor recently that fought off over 1,000 infringers that were bringing product into the U.S. from mostly China, and he stopped them at the port. Really, really cool guy, came up with this really cool invention, and he's not far from me here in New York City. He's in New Jersey. So this page has been very helpful for a lot of inventors, and a lot of inventors who have launched companies and now have brands. They're so focused on the day-to-day and fighting off infringers that they don't have time to go out and find resources. They're like, they're battling these companies, and so they'll reach out to me and they'll say, I found your infringement page. I had no idea. This is awesome. Thank you. So we're definitely having an impact on the industry. And like I said, I like to go out to trade shows, and I might like to meet with a lot of people, but inventors, I'm talking to you. If you're watching this video, if you're on this, do not trust these people at their words. If they have a success rate, ask them for their success rate on paper. Ask them how many people they've had sign up for their program in the last 12 months. And how many of those people either got a licensing deal from their hand directly or have had any financial success, meaning the inventor or the client or the student made back more money in licensing than they did on paying the provider. There are some. Go ahead, I'm
Chris,
sorry.
I'd like to interrupt you and say, is there anybody in the audience that has any questions?
I'm sorry.
You have the most amazing website. I must congratulate you on that, for one. And two, on our website, the Institute's website, we've got a little drop-down section called sightseeing. And on there, I've got sites that I think would be useful to our inventors. The UIA is up there. Julie Shively's site, Innovation World, is up there. And I know that you are on Julie's site, but I can assure you now, I'm going to pull you out and put you up and give you your own site. What you showed us tonight has been quite eye-opening and very comprehensive, and it shows huge amount of work. So I would just like to congratulate you just on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And to wish you so much luck.
And I just wanted to add, we got Lisa Farmer. Lisa joined our team.
Yes, I see.
Lisa joined, I've been working with Lisa now for, I'd say, about a year. And before I launched Inventor Rescue, I was following Lisa, and she, with Inventing Wise, her site, and I knew I had to have her join my team because she is very honest. She's an inventor who has manufactured, who's licensed, and she spent the last 5 years helping inventors who've been scammed. And so she's been a great resource, along with Paula Brilson from Digital Law Group out in San Francisco. So I'm slowly finding the right pieces from the puzzle, and it's coming together. And so I'm building that team of people who care enough to come on board. Sorry.
They say you got to build your tribe, not so.
And that's what I'm doing.
Are there any questions that anybody has? Ken?
Yes, please. Chris, I don't know whether you've ever heard of this company, because they used to pop up whenever we did some searches with the word like invention or inventor. Davidson's or Davidson and Co.
Okay, so I will just stick to the facts here, right? Davidson is a company that has changed its name a few times, and their success rate is around 1 to 2%. They are one of the companies that, by law, they're an invention submission company.
You seem to have frozen.
Can you hear me?
Still frozen, Julie.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
thank
I'm
you.
here.
Davidson is one of those companies that their success rate is in the ballpark of 1 to 2%. And, if you find the place on their website where they have to share their numbers, you'll find something like, 15,000. I may be exaggerating, but somewhere on their website, they have to list the number of clients they've had. And out of those clients, how many have made money back? And you'll find that the numbers are astonishing. But they're one of these companies that charges a lot on the front end. So inventors need to ask the right questions. We can't just go by these companies' websites, fancy websites, fancy testimonials. They have all the questions for the inventor, but when the inventor asks them for what's their success rate, and in writing, these companies will not do it. They'll flip it on the inventor and say, well, you're reaching out to us, so do you want our help or not? Something like that, but in a nicer way, I guess. You don't need Davison, just be careful. I don't know if that answers your question. I think it does.
Michelle?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, thanks for all that great info. It's really wonderful. But when you say success rate, what are you talking about? People that make money or people that can make a living out of it?
So financial success for inventors was defined in the Inventors Protection Act of 1999. And their definition is the inventor making back more money from a deal than they paid the company for in services.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So company A charged you $5,000 in services. They introduced you to a licensee or a partner, and you made back more money than you paid company A for services.
Okay, so that could be $10. That could be $10 million, right?
Well, if they charge you $10 and you made 15, that's financial success. But none of them are charging $10. I wish.
Yeah. No, but I just wanted to see what the scale was of what success meant, and it just means like, okay, you got your money back, but it doesn't mean that it's a substantial amount or it was worth all the effort, because I mean, you might be working on something for years and years, and then just to get your money back might be hard.
And you know what? Success could be in the eye of the beholder, holder.
Sure.
I mean, there's really no hard numbers on success in this industry. In my case, with my invention, I'm about $500,000 into it.
Oh wow.
So for me to ever tell anyone that I'm having financial success, I'm gonna need to make back my profit and make back my money and get out of the red. Some people, it's like a gambler, right? They 10 years, they lose thousands of dollars. They lose $20,000. They go to Vegas, they win. They leave with $3,000, but they don't tell anyone they lost $20,000.
Sure.
They still owe the house 17.
Yeah.
Kind of the same, I don't know if that's a good analogy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I think success can also be measured by like the relationships that you make along the way that maybe, help fuel you going forward as well,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
Okay,
on that point,
thanks.
it's the financial success. If you paid a company $5,000 and, they introduce you to a partner and you don't cover your expenses, I mean, we're not going to hold people to that, but I'm giving you the definition. I'm doing my best.
Yeah, no, thanks. I was just kind of curious what your gauge is. Okay, thanks. Great info, by the
Lisha,
way.
can I turn to you for a moment and ask you to say a few words before we close off? The top of the hour is coming and we need to sort of say goodbye to people. But could I ask you to say a few words on anti-scam? And congratulations, by the way, on your fabulous calendar. Lisha, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I would just like to add a couple of things to what Chris was saying. And Chris and I, as he said, have been working together for quite some time. Chris, I admire everything you do. You're amazing. Thank you so much. I've been so busy. Chris he grabs my slack all the time because I spent years helping inventors, and Chris has jumped in and proved himself to be just absolutely an amazing person. I trust few in this industry, but Chris is my man. So thank you. I would like to add to keep in mind when you are looking up companies like the one you mentioned earlier, Davidson Invention, you'll see commercials. I'll use George Foreman as just an example. keep in mind, he has nothing to do with that company. It's just a commercial on TV. So, you know, these companies will lure you in because they have their goal in life is to make money off of the inventor. My goal in life is to make money off of my invention. And if these companies, excuse me, if these companies were as good at licensing products as they like to tell people, or, you know, inventors that they are, honestly, they wouldn't be making money off of the inventors. They would be making money off of their inventions. And so that's where I like to tell inventors to be very cautious, because if I had a foolproof way to get you all a licensing deal this afternoon, that would be wonderful. But I don't. There's no, I could write a book today on everything that I've been through, but there's no one-stop shop to inventing. There's no one stop. There's no one way. You've seen the sign that says, you know, I can't remember, but it's about 10,000 ways to, you know, 10,000 ways I got it wrong. And that's just how it is. Getting an invention to market, getting a licensing deal is like finding a needle in a haystack. So you don't want to put your family at risk financially ever over an idea. Utilize Chris's website, share his website. It is packed full of so much information. And so, yes, avoiding scams, it's difficult to do, don't get me wrong, because you get some really good smooth talkers out there. But do the best you can to vet those companies. Utilize Inventor Rescue. It's an amazing site. If there's a question that's not there, if there's no answer there, ask the question on the site. Someone will get back with you with that answer. If we don't know it, we will try and find it for you.
And
Okay,
if I could
Lisa,
just,
thank you very
if I
much.
could just piggyback off of that, she said some things that I kind of missed. I'm talking to a lot of inventors that are going through divorces, and divorces from after dealing with some of these companies, because these companies don't care about you or your family. They're making millions of dollars off of our failures as independent inventors, and it's terrible. So we talk about mental health. Some of these companies are contributing to that mental health, because some of the inventors I'm talking to are going through a divorce because they've spent $50,000 to $75,000 of their retirement plan, and their wives are just like, it's happening. And another thing, when you do a search on Google for invention or product idea, the first few pages are 90% bad companies. They're making so much money from inventors. They're putting it right back into marketing, and they're getting independent inventors. And what's sad is that there are good guys out there, but it's just so hard to figure out who's good, because the bad guys are so good at marketing.
Okay. Can we close off now with any other last minute questions? I mean, I know, Christopher, we could go on all night, because, I mean, there's a scan a minute and you can discuss it. But we're coming to the top of our hour now. And if there aren't any other questions, can I hand over to you, please, Ken, to close the meeting for us?
Can I just say one last thing?
Of course, Chris.
If anyone has any questions, concerns, go to the website, fill out the contact us form. And when people submit that form, they're really surprised. I try to call them back immediately or within 24 hours. And it's me calling. It's not, someone on my staff or it's me. And so I pride that I get on the phone, and if it's something that needs some time, if I've got the time, we spend some time on it, and I will get an answer if I don't know it immediately.
Thank you very much. Ken, I'm always wanting to say just one last thing. Julie, thank you very much for your role tonight, for being a co-host and for recording for us, and for seeing me through my blip with the generator and our loss of power in the middle of the meeting. So I sincerely appreciate that.
For sure.
Don't quite know what I'd have done. we would have, well, we would have just done whatever we would have had to have done. So thank you very much for all of you. I'll hand over to Ken. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Celeste. Thank you. Yeah, Chris, I was quite amazed to hear about your talk tonight, because it's the first time I've seen anybody offering that kind of advice. I mean, we've had lots of speakers to meetings like these and other meetings telling us about their experience and offering us advice about how and how not to do things. But nobody has ever talked like you, where you've actually specialized in preventing people from going down the wrong route. And I think it's the most amazing thing to learn about. It just shows your inventiveness, because it's just another bloody invention after all. And you're the guy. So well done. And thanks for your time. And thank everybody else for their time. And we hope to see everybody again at another meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Julie. Bye-bye. Bye,
Bye,
Lisa.
guys.
Bye, Victor.
Bye.
Bye, Gavin.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye. See you next time.
Cheers.